They tell us that in general, action can be taken against a student who knowingly reports false information. But St. Clair County Sheriff investigators say there was just not enough evidence to obtain charges against the person who reportedly made the threat. The teen tipster's parents now concerned that students will think twice before using "okay to say," putting kids at greater risk.
For the school to tell him he did the wrong thing, they're doing the wrong thing.
The teen's family says if the Anchor Bay School Board does decide to expel him, they're worried how it will damage his reputation and where he will finish high school. Kimberly Craig, 7 Action News.
We went and locked it and then he...
The big story, spring storm aftermath. The weekend ice storm leaving its mark on southeast Michigan.
People all over the area are still in the dark. Right now, DTE Energy crews are working around the clock to get the power back on. Here are the latest numbers from the utility. 240,000 customers are still without power. The outages are spread out all over town, mostly though in Wayne and Oakland counties.
The company says 90% of people will have their electricity restored by tomorrow night. At one point, 390,000 DTE customers were impacted by the storm.
Some families in Monroe County face a difficult cleanup after Lake Erie spilled into their homes. There were about 200 evacuations over the weekend. Many people returned today to find a mud-soaked mess. Several feet of water invaded some homes in Luna Pier. Along with all the damage, it was a close call for one family's dog.
When we first came home from the birthday party, our dog was in his kennel. Thank God we got home in time because he had a couple inches of air to spare. It's horrible. So he's still traumatized.
You can't put it into words because you walk in and you look at everything that you've accumulated, you worked hard for, and it's like, what can you keep?
That's the difficult part. Homeowners trying to salvage anything they can. For some, there is a lot of work to do before they can return to their homes and stay once again.
And weather is being blamed for a fire that destroyed a food pantry in Detroit. The facility was a staple in the southwest part of town, feeding thousands of people.
7 Action News reporter Brian Abel is live there tonight with how that fire started. Brian.
Yeah, it was likely a down wire. You can see these power lines right here that are connecting to this house that was also a food pantry, and there was disastrous results. I want to show you what we can see here. Here is what's left. Completely unsalvageable. You can see cans inside, but there's also clothing, hygiene products, things that people need, and now it's this pantry that's in need. Alberta Hubbard started what was once here in the Trenches Community Outreach Nonprofit Housing Corporation back in 2006, feeding thousands since.
God gave me a vision. He told me to go feed his people and to feed them like I would be feeding my own family. And that's what we've done and tried to stay true to women, children, veterans, you name it, homeless people, because people need to eat.
That mission likely now on hold after Mother Nature had other plans early this morning. When firefighters showed up, the entire back of the pantry was on fire, with power lines arcing overhead. The building and all of its contents inside, unsalvageable.
We need a building. We don't. I don't know. Right now, we just lost everything. We just lost everything. We need what every.
So clearly devastating, not just for Hubbard, but this area that relies on its services. Hubbard says this was the first home in Detroit that was Gleaners approved. This house was in Hubbard's family for more than 100 years. Now investigators, they are still looking at the official cause of the fire. Reporting live in Detroit, Brian Abel, 7 Action News.
Very sad, Brian. Thank you very much.
And Mother Nature is adding insult to injury. A new threat is moving in, bringing snow chances with it.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Rexroth in the Weather Center with a look at when it could hit and the possible impact on the morning drive. Dave?
Yeah, this is kind of leftovers, if you will, of the weekend storm here. The cold air is in place. Look at these current temperatures. 37 in Detroit. We only hit 38 for a high so far. 33 in Flint, 26 in Gaylord, 23 in Marquette. A lot of cold weather, and of course that's helping produce some problems. The wind's still gusty to 25 in Detroit, almost 30 in Ann Arbor, 29, so that's still an issue. It will get stronger tonight and tomorrow as well. Feels like 26 in the Motor City. Pontiac, wind chill 23, 22 in Howell. I think you get the idea. Now, on top of all this, some snow showers have been little just bits and pieces, flurries and or some sprinkles today, but a little more widespread action, Jackson, Coldwater to Battle Creek. Most of that will miss us just to the south, but overnight we'll probably get some more snow showers. It's just a little dusting, but that actually could stick to the roads perhaps, especially the ramps, bridges, overpasses. So tomorrow morning, this is 6 o'clock. Watch how the snow showers come in here. Tomorrow morning, you got to be smart about what you do. It's hit and miss action, but slow down a little bit. Tomorrow, of course, we start at 4:30. We'll let you know what's going on.
All right, thanks, Dave. The checkered past of an ex-Michigan State Police trooper is emerging tonight as he faces trial in the death of a Detroit teenager. Mark Bessner was back in court today on charges including second-degree murder. Now we're learning he also had a documented history of abusing his authority. 7 investigator Simon Shaquette is asking how he stayed on the job despite all the red flags.
Today, former trooper Mark Bessner making an appearance here at Frank Murphy Hall of Justice as new information is coming to light about his disturbing violations as a state police trooper.
Inside a Wayne County courtroom, ex-MSP trooper Mark Bessner arrived with attorneys in order to plan his trial. Meanwhile, sources confirming his troubling law enforcement career includes a whopping 40 incidents involving force in just 4 years.
I'm not surprised that this happened. What I am surprised is that he was still on the job.
We asked retired State Police Inspector Ellis Stafford about Bessner's prior violations for not activating emergency lights, sirens, or cameras during high-speed pursuit, misusing his taser, and finally discharging his taser from a moving vehicle at 15-year-old Damon Grimes on August 26, 2017 on the city's east side.
We live in an age now that the police are not trusted. It's barely a month goes past where you don't read about some action that law enforcement has conducted somewhere around the country where an unarmed, usually a person of color, is killed or injured.
Stafford says he also knows of other cases involving troopers who've crossed the line but kept their jobs.
They could very much have fired him a long time ago, and the union argued to get his job back. It goes to arbitration. He gets his job back.
The fallout that's followed Grimes' tragic death has now led to veteran Detroit officer Aubrey Wade being reassigned out of the department's highly coveted neighborhood policing unit. Chief James Craig making the call after Wade allegedly made insensitive comments heard on body camera footage. They included statements on scene referencing Grimes that said, quote, "That's a grown expletive man, a bad expletive 15. No sympathy at all for expletive. Expletive want to be grown. You act grown. You got to expletive, deal with it."
He's done great work, but that doesn't take away the fact that the comments that were made were unprofessional and insensitive.
This officer was not speaking to a citizen. He was speaking to his partner, someone he shares a lot of time with. Knowing Officer Wade and the person he is, he's just a fantastic guy.
Bessner has another court appearance on June 8th and a trial set to start on August 20th. Until then, he remains a free man. From downtown, Simon Shaquette, 7 Action News.
Simon, thank you.